Oh, hey. You're watching. All right, day 2. I'm Zachary Fowler of Fowler's Makery and Mischief, and you're watching episode 3 of 87 days, the complete reenactment of all my time out on alone, but as if I did it here in Maine. Everything I built, everything I did, we're gonna do it here. And today, we're gonna catch a fish and smoke it over the fire and get that first fire going, which I didn't manage to light on my first day out there in Patagonia, so we're gonna get one going today. And so, let's make it happen. All right, this seems like a nice spot. I'm on the St. George River here in Maine, and I see some fish activity going on. And I'm gonna try and catch a fish today, the same way I did out on alone. That first fish I had came in my first morning there. So I'm gonna cut a pole. There we go. Nothing too special. This first one wasn't anything magnificent. It was just a pole and a line on a beautiful piece of bamboo. I do miss the bamboo from out there. It was such a unique material to work with. Gave me so many opportunities to make so many neat things like the rake and all that. I'm gonna tie a piece of line onto it. I tied out there the line down on the stick where it was a little more solid, and then up again to the tip, thinking that if the tip broke off, at least I wouldn't lose all my line and my hook. I only ever lost one hook while I was out there, and then I got it back because it was in a fish's mouth, and at the end I lost it one more time, so I came home with all my hooks but one. All right, there we go. I got my hook tied on. You see I left the most minimal tail because every piece of material I use out there, you can never use it again. If you snip off a 1-inch tail every time you tie a knot on, you know, that's 1 inch of your fishing line gone forever, unless you're gonna tie them all back together somehow and use it for something else. I got myself a little worm that I found. There he is. We're gonna hook him on here. This is one of the hooks I had in Patagonia. There's a clove hitch around my sinker rock. You don't want a round rock, it's easier with a rock this shaped. And then there's a backup knot on top of it. Little square knot with some spit to lock it in place. You don't want to lock it down too tightly. It's better to lose the rock than to lock it up too tightly and then snap your line or put some weakness into the line. And so my fishing pole's over here. I'm gonna walk down there. I'm gonna coil it up in one hand, and with the other hand I'm gonna sling it out there and try to get it to right where I want it in the river. Nice. That was a good one. Still got it. The trick is to get it out there so that your line has as much tension as possible. The sinker sets down and the line as straight as possible, so when the fish does bite it, takes it into its mouth, it doesn't have any springing mechanism, it's just a straight pole, takes it into his mouth, and he pulls against it, he sets the hook in his mouth. Fish are annoying. They tend to spit the hook out after stripping it of the worms or grubs or whatever. Grubs in some ways, and gills actually works better because the cartilage on the grubs and the worms or whatever it is, as you hook them through there, it's really snagged on there, so they really have to aggressively hit it a bunch of times to get it free and more likely to get themselves hooked. Right there. That's what I used to tie flies all the time. As a kid, I learned how to tie flies, fish all the time. Never catch anything. I was horrible at fishing. And I went out there on alone and slaying them. Not really. I had 24 hooks working for me all the time, caught 63 fish with them. That many hooks in the water all the time, always baited, always freshly baited morning and evenings. Persistent, consistent effort. Even if you're not a good fisherman, you're gonna catch some fish. So, ooh, we got a little guy. That's what I was afraid of. I've been having a hard time finding trout. This is a smallmouth bass here, and caught him fairly quickly. I'm gonna have to find a deeper hole, I think. Catch something bigger. Alright, so I've been here for a little while. I got my hand line out. I haven't caught anything on my first one I put out. Flew the drone and found another worm. And I'm gonna rig him up on the hand line so I can cast it out to the other side of the stream with a stick for a bobber. And about a foot of length on her. See if I can't catch something that way. Well, it's not what I was going for. But was I really hungry? At least I'd be eating something. Man, I have the worst luck lately. Another unsuccessful spot. I'm gonna move to a different location. Something I was only minimally able to do in Patagonia. Fortunately, the location I was dropped at turned out to be a pretty rich trout spot. So I'm gonna try another place. Oh, that was a beautiful toss. Sun's going down in 10 minutes, so next yellow perch I catch, I think is gonna be what I catch at Keep and Cook. I think I got one. Oh, I got a turtle. Oh good, he's barely hooked. Got a little turtle. Alright buddy, hold on. Well, this is where the multi-tool is gonna come in handy. Hey little buddy. There we go. Well, he caught a little turtle accidentally. Poor little guy, nice little painted turtle. I think he's okay though, it was just on the edge of his lip. He's got a big tough jaw. He'll be okay. So I caught the painted turtle, but I got him free. But I noticed something, look at his shell here. What do you see there? Leeches. Leeches on his shell. Leeches are great for fishing. So I'm gonna pop a couple of those off, and I'm gonna put this little painted turtle guy back. Seems like he's okay. And use some leeches. Nice, he's happy, he's off. There we go, I got a leech on the hook. See if I can't, two more chances here at catching a fish. This time with a leech instead of the worms. Looks like I got a nice one. Nice one on the leech. There we go. Not that big. Little bigger than my hand, but that'll do. Take him back, smoke him over the fire, show you how I ate my fish there in Patagonia. And I caught it on that leech that I popped off the turtle that I accidentally caught. So, booyah. Utilize everything that comes into your gravity. Alright, so we got the fish. Yellow perch wasn't the rainbow trout I was hoping for. I brought it back on a fish stick, which is, I used out there just a stick through the gills with a hook on it, and if you leave this end long, you can stick it under the water and jab it into the ground and just keep sliding more fish on them so they stay in the water and they will stay alive until you're ready to take them out, process them, and take them to your shelter. So, she'll be good enough. I'm gonna descale it, smoke it over the fire. So let's get a fire going so we can have some fish and fish head soup. Hee-haw. Fire pit right there. Out in Patagonia, the topsoil was like 4 feet deep. So I actually didn't dig down for a fire pit, but I did go down to the beach and get a ton of sand and put like 4 inches of sand down so that topsoil, because it was so peaty, I didn't want to have a ground fire. Out here on my land, I've had that issue before. When I first moved out to the woods, I had a ground fire, and this stuff, it'll burn in the roots underneath the ground and go along and burn, burn, burn until it pops back up. And I've had it pop up next to the fire pit 4 feet away, like 5 days later, smoldering and smoking away. And if it's dry enough, there's no telling when that's just gonna burst back into life. So we're gonna dig a fire pit. Topsoil here is broken down rotten material. It's only 2 inches thick. So, and the rest of Maine is all gravel and rocks. You wouldn't believe how many rocks are here. And the nice thing about digging in Patagonia is every time I dug a step, every time I dug anything, I found grubs or worms that I could use for baiting my fish hooks. And they provided me with all the fish. Here, it's all gravel, not so worm friendly. There. I'm gonna get some rocks to line it with. Then I just take some of this dirt from the bottom and use it as grout in and around the rocks to keep the, it ruins the look of the fire pit. It won't be as pretty, but pretty's not as important as waking up and having the forest burning down around you. So I try to use that as kind of like a little bit of a grout in and around the rocks to keep the sparks from getting into the side here where the topsoil and stuff like that is exposed to taking a spark and smoldering away. All right. Before you start a fire, you always want to have everything you need there to make your fire, get it going, and have it stable so that you can walk away and get more materials. That means having fire starter, kindling, and some wood to keep the fire stable once you get it going so that you can walk away and collect more materials. And let's see if we can get her going. It's wicked dry out here. It shouldn't take much. But I've never been good. I admit it. I've never been really great with this thing. And break up your kindling a little. Break up your little tinder bundle and have that ready to go on there once you get that sparked up. You don't want to be trying to do things on the fly. And I always had in my shelter, once I got that built, I always had a tinder bundle ready to go, drying next to the fire, and 2 fire starter sticks of charcoal wood, as well as like little piles of all the different sizes of stuff ready to go. Got the hacksaw side edge. It's got a light serration to it. You probably can't see it. There's a hacksaw side edge of this file, and I'm going to use that to descale the fish. Now we need a stick to put them over the fire so he smokes. I want him up there in the smoke and not in the flames. So as of now, that means I gotta get him up quite a bit higher here because you got the flames are coming up to here. So I'm gonna have to put him on a stick up here somewhere. That will do. That probably will take, 2.5 hours. I'll get a good semi-smoked. The best is about 6 hours I found. All right, got my pot. And a nice little patina on her. This is 87 days worth of patina right there. 3 times a day, fish head soup. This was a great pot. Throw the old fish head in there. Soup will be on once this gets a, I like to call, everything out there I counted 100, so I'm gonna count 100 count boil. Fish has been smoking for 2.5 hours now. Fish is looking awful golden. I wish I had a little bit longer to smoke it. The longer you smoke it, the better it is. Get all the hot coals in one place. And get her onto the hot coals just to finish off the cooking process. I kind of rake them back and forth till I get just the hot coals and the ashes settled down. And boom! Look at that. Dark, rich broth. And look at that, the fish head. It's melted. It's just melting, falling apart. That's what you want. Boiled down, rich, beautiful colored broth, and the fish head just coming apart. I'm gonna let that cool off and I'll be able to drink some of that. Looks like I got some pine needles in there too. That'll just be some added flavoring. And the fish is searing on the coals for its finishing touches, and I'll eat that. I'll use my lid as a plate. All right, chopsticks are done. It's probably time to flip that fish. Oh yeah. Whew, that's hot. That is hot. first pot of fish head soup since August 16th last year, the day that Jamie showed up and said, "It's over, you can go home. You won." Here we go. Chipmunk. It's good. Doesn't taste as good as trout. I think the trout fish head soup tastes better. And we got the little bits in the bottom. And with the trout, they were so much bigger. I'd dig around and I'd find any little chunks of meat that falls out of the backside of the head. The eyeballs. I eat it all in the end almost. Oops, I lost that one. The cheeks, there's little cheeks on the fish that come out, and the trout, since the trout were like, 12 inches plus every time, the cheeks were like the size of 2/4 usually, and they tasted so strong of smoked like jerky, because I would smoke the heads for like 2 or 3 days before I finally got around turning those into fish head soup. So, man, that brings back memories. Once I'm done eating this fish, those bones go in there as well, and that continues to get stewed, and I'll drink that for another 2 days. And if I have like 3 fish, I would add 1 more fish head the next morning, and the next one the next morning, and after that, if I caught a fish that day, I always tried to have like 5 days worth of fish head set aside. Yeah. That comes apart even better than the trout did out there. Those guys, they were full of bones. This guy is too still. Oh, that is good. Man, that swordfish Jamie and I got the other day, I don't think it tasted as good as this. There's just something about catch and cook, When you catch and cook your own fish on your fire, it tastes so much better. So, that's all for me. Thanks for watching. Next time on Fowler's 87 days, I don't know. I was thinking maybe the first things I made out there. I made several things those first couple days. Maybe we'll get into that, and then some more fishing. And so yeah, thanks for watching. Tune in next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the website here, and subscribe there. And our old videos, best to watch here and here. So, have a good day, get outdoors. Fowler out.